Welcome to the Social Selling Linking into Sales podcast. Myself, Martin Brossman.
I'm Greg Heyer.
And I'm Elise Archer.
We have a great show today covering AI, bots, social selling, and we might talk about things that make Elon Musk nervous, which is my interest today. So we're going to start a little bit, and I'm going to hand it over to Greg for some news.
Absolutely. Well, we got a couple of things that have been happening here lately, that have kind of been affecting how LinkedIn is working and their relationship in the greater business community. The first thing is that if you hadn't heard, LinkedIn was in a major lawsuit where they were basically sued by a company called HiQ. And what HiQ does, which is a very, very cool tool, is that they actually will take and look at public profiles that are available on the web from LinkedIn and try to determine the likelihood of you leaving your job. Okay, and they take this data and they sell it back to a business. So something large like GE, for example, I believe is one of their clients, and they want to kind of get a heads up when somebody's leaving because employee attrition is something that is pretty expensive when you come to think of it. It's an expense that businesses have. So LinkedIn said, "Whoa, hold on a second! You're taking data off of our platform and then reselling it. That's against the terms and conditions. You can't do that." So basically, they went to LinkedIn went and sued and put a cease and desist out on it, and HiQ went and countersued, and they won. And they won. Basically, what it says is that the reason why they won is because your public profile, if you have set it up correctly, is available on the web, and you do not need to log into LinkedIn to use it. So therefore, it's open game, right? Because it's available out there on the web. Okay, and I fully agree, and I'm ecstatic about the ruling that the federal judge actually came out with this. This is extremely great. The thing is, it kind of borders on First Amendment rights and things like that. And so it was definitely interesting to see this actually turn out the way that it did. So I'll put a link in the show notes to that so that we can take a look and read more about that. There's a number of great stories, whether it's on Fortune or Ars Technica. There's some really good stuff out there about it. Second thing, which just kind of was announced today, is that LinkedIn is slowly rolling out and quietly rolling out a little notification light in your messaging app on the desktop that lets you know when somebody is online using LinkedIn. So, or when a contact of yours is online using LinkedIn. So, on Facebook, you get a little green light next to their face when you're looking at whether it's within Messenger or if it's on the desktop version. But LinkedIn's now finally, after God knows how many years, actually put this little feature out. So it's a fun little thing. If you're trying to reach somebody you're connected to on LinkedIn, trying to get their attention, at least now you get a little notification that lets you know that they are online. So those are two big stories that kind of happened over, between this podcast and the previous one. So definitely take advantage of that. I'll put a link in the show notes for you guys to read as well.
The other thing I want to mention is the video from the mobile phone, Greg.
Yes.
That's, to me, something important because I just got someone saying they're getting lots of videos and they're trying to hide someone. So, and
you can stop using LinkedIn then.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You can LinkedIn. It should be rolled out to everybody now. If not, you'll have it shortly. But you can also upload native video to LinkedIn. I believe the limit's at 10 minutes. But you are able to take and upload video now natively to LinkedIn, which is, again, something that a lot of platforms have been doing for a while. But now, LinkedIn is finally on board.
And I think we do want to watch it to find out how it affects people in the feed. Because remember when they allowed you to push all the Twitter to LinkedIn, it was the best way to get someone to hide all your content. So I think it's something we ought to watch and see what the feedback is of rate of flow of it, because it does create another interrupt that occurs. And my view is everything we're doing in sales is either going to be a welcome interruption or an unwelcome interruption. And we need to pay attention to that. So that's something I'm asking our listeners to give us some feedback on. What do you think? How often? Should it be regular? Should it be once a day? Should it be once a week? What's your experience of it? So that's what I want to hear.
Yep. Very good.
And now let's talk about our sponsor, And Greg, would you tell them about some incredible online training and how they might benefit till the end of this month by taking advantage of it?
Well, we have this really great Fundamentals of Social Selling course that is available right now at socialselling.training. And if you are if you need a robust course to kind of give you the ins and outs of social selling and a fundamental understanding of how we approach social selling, then definitely take this course. It's 67 lessons over 5 hours of content, and it's easy to get through. We have some help that's available inside the course as well. We're going to be rolling out office hours. So for a couple times a month, you'll be able to come on. Anyone who's taken the course will be able to come in and ask us questions about the course and get a little more heads up and some coaching on social selling. It's a great opportunity. What I would recommend is that, well, Martin says that there's, until the end of the month, the month's over in 12 days. So we're going to scratch that. Okay. And we're going to say, if you're listening to the podcast, reach out to Martin or myself on LinkedIn. Don't do both. Just do one of us, because then you create confusion. And ask us for a promo code.
Okay, right. And I'm going to say, because we're in sales and need to create a sense of urgency, for a limited time, and we're going to do it until we stop, Greg. So that's what I'll add to it. So Elise, you can add something on to that, and then we'll get to start with our show.
Yeah, I'm going to make the deadline today. So if you guys want to get that, the deadline is today, just to make this as confusing as possible and screw the whole thing up.
Just reach out to me and I'll just give you one.
Yeah, just call Greg.
Don't call Martin.
Okay. We have an exciting show, and we've been working to re-coordinate to get here for a while with a very, very busy powerhouse of a person that's moving to our area. And Greg, I'm going to let you do the introduction, and I can hardly wait for this discussion to begin.
All right, very good. So coming to us today is Brandon, and I just forgot how to pronounce his last name. Pronounce your last name, Brandon.
Bornancin.
All right. So
it's a long Italian name. It's tough.
You need a 4-letter last name like me.
I'm thinking about changing it to like Ryan or Smith, but we'll see.
But now you're SEO optimized, so you're pretty good.
Yeah, stay with it.
So Brandon Bornancin is the co-founder and CEO of Seamless.ai. Seamless researches perfect emails. Let me make sure I got this right. So Seamless researches perfect emails, phone numbers, and insights for anyone in the world using artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science. They're on a mission to help you create new relationships and opportunities faster than ever by using the power of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and sales data science. So definitely check out Seamless.ai. And it's absolutely free to try out today. So he has actually worked at worked with a number of places as well. So definitely want to hear more about that. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, guys. Truly appreciate it. We're thrilled to be here to talk about social selling, AI, and chatbots.
Absolutely. Let's scare Elon Musk a little bit too.
Yes.
I think that's exciting.
You guys get some sick pleasure out of that.
I do.
You really do.
Well, I wrote an article on machine learning to educate people on it. And the more I dug into it, is I realized we have great advancements that have occurred to bring us out of the AI winter into the AI spring, but it still seems to be evolved below the level of an amoeba. So I asked Elon Musk the question: if we're below the level of amoeba, and you're saying Terminator's around the corner, I'm concerned of what would be the agenda for doing it, because I'm finding some people trying to capitalize on people's fear of AI. That's very disturbing. And I don't want to call them out, but I think there's a responsibility in letting people know, we're at the very beginning of some of this stuff. And he's talking about what looks like the Terminator knocking at my door next week. So, Brandon, I'll open with you being able to make your comment on it. And I do want to, I respect his opinion. He's a very accomplished person, but I think no one's challenged him on this and said, wait a second, what's going on in a public way?
Yeah, no, it's great commentary. We feel that you can do good with any new technology. Look at autonomous driving. A lot of people will hate it. A lot of people will love it. I love it because I love to work 24/7. So I want to be able to drive and work. I want to be able to drive at night and be able to sleep. So I'm a huge fan of that. The same goes for leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning to do good in sales. If I could automatically, for example, read your social posts, Martin, and know what you like, what you dislike, the things about you, anything and everything that we can leverage and learn about you and your personality and your interests and hobbies, and then apply that to creating rapport and connection. That's a great way to leverage AI. Also, leveraging AI to tell us automatically what the company does, how they do it, the products that they sell, competitors, what they may be interested in buying today based on their search intent, based on what they're posting socially, you name it. So those are different ways to leverage machine learning and AI to empower salespeople and marketers and entrepreneurs to make a connection to these prospects, to these buyers. It doesn't have to be, AI is going to replace the salesperson. AI and machine learning are going to empower salespeople and marketers to be more efficient and more effective at their jobs. And that's really the goal with all of this technology.
Excellent. Elise, I'll let you dig into that. He very politically was careful not to take on Elon Musk directly. I just want to say that respectfully there.
Well, so for our listeners, Brandon, I think the thing I would be curious to hear about is over at Seamless.ai. Explain to us exactly what you guys do with your technology there. How does it help empower salespeople? And in the back of my mind, I'm always wondering, how is it not replacing salespeople as well? So I want to hear it from your perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So 10,000 foot view, and I don't want to get into a big pitch about Seamless. So we want to help empower the world to connect. Our goal is that all these social networks and search engines, they create a profile of you, and then you have to connect with them, or you have to add them as a friend or whatever. And Seamless is creating this search engine and professional network that empowers you to connect with anyone. And Seamless will research perfect emails, phone numbers, and insights for any professional in the world, leveraging artificial intelligence. So our goal is to help you maximize sales by automating everything that you're doing already. Sales prospecting, list building, appointment setting, CRM data entry, you name it. And really what that means is we're just searching the entire universe for all this data about people and companies, bringing it together, analyzing it really quickly, and then figuring out the best way to connect with that person and email them, call them, learn everything about that company and that person to connect, to build a new relationship, to close a new deal, to fill your pipeline, you name it. And it's funny because our sales emails, we do say, hey, this is Brandon with Seamless, the Terminator of business development. So it's pretty funny that Elon Musk talks about the Terminator. But our goal is to help you, build as many profitable relationships as fast as possible. And the core of our technology is AI and researching and analyzing millions of terabytes of data instantly. So we're excited to get everyone on the platform.
So it's interesting to me. So does it basically get you up until the point when you're having that first conversation as a sales professional with your prospect? It sounds like to me it's doing all the hunting on the front end. And I know that's a big part of what a lot of salespeople do. So to me, that's my main interest, is like, how much does it replace of what we do every day? How does it integrate with what we do? And at what point would the salesperson jump in and say, here I am, right?
Yeah, so we want to automate everything up until sales execution. We know that 65-70% of your time is wasted on non-research, such as list building, company research, contact research. How am I going to prospect this company? How am I going to prospect this contact? What am I going to say? What are they going to do? How do I personalize my social selling messages, my emails, my calls to these people? And the answer to that is all the data. So in 1 second, we want you to be able to automatically know all the accounts you should be selling to, automatically know all the contacts that you should be selling to based on the titles that buy your services. Then Seamless will research and build all those lists of people at those accounts for you. And then if you click a button, we research, analyze, and validate the perfect emails, phone numbers, and insights So our goal is to give you emails, phone numbers, and thousands of data points for every single contact and company that you need to be selling to. So say, for example, Lise, you want to prospect Adobe. Seamless would automatically research who are all the people that you need to sell to at Adobe. What does Adobe do? Okay, it's a high-end, design software automation platform. Instead of Elise having to go to the website, figure that out. Who are Adobe's competitors? What is the news saying about them? What are they talking about socially? What do they like? What do they dislike? Are they on the market for anything? Who is the key management? What are their financials? Who are all the people at the account that I should be selling to? Instead of you scouring millions of websites, we're going to do that with a click of a button. Hey, I need to sell to marketing people at Adobe. Boom. Seamless builds out everyone that you should be selling to at the account and all the research to connect with that person personally, and then at all the research on the company so that you can really put together a strategic, value-driven, engaged message to them via email, social touch, call, you name it. We want to automate all your research because I want Lisa, Martin, and Greg to be social selling, calling, and emailing 24/7, not scouring the web. Like right now, there's no Google for sales, if you think about it. There's no search engine that finds all this data about people and companies. We're building that search engine and professional network that automates that entire process with one search.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of clients who would really love that. Just saying. I have yet to meet a salesperson who loves the research unless they're trying to creatively avoid doing their work. Now, the thing that I think is interesting is you say you don't see this replacing the role of a salesperson, even like 5, 10, 15 years. But it seems like it could, right? I mean, you're getting them all the information they need. And with the sales process becoming more and more automated and consumers finding more and more of the information they need online, do you not think it could potentially go in that direction 5 or 10 years from now?
It's a good question. So at the end of the day, you're going to leverage all this data that like a Seamless.ai or another platform provides you or that you research on your own. You're going to funnel that into social selling automation, email automation, and calling automation platforms. So that's going to execute all your outbound activity. Mm-hmm. But then, like, who's going to meet with them? They're not going to have Siri meet with them to answer questions. Like, they have to meet with a salesperson. And we find that the most value is being able to be in front of prospects, meeting with them, talking with them, whether it be socially on the phone or pitching via video or conference line, you name it. So our goal is to just help you get to that meeting, get to that meaningful relationship building point or activity as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. Now, 10, 20 years from now, I think we got to just get really good at figuring out how to constantly add value. I think companies will always buy with humans and buying with relationship building. And if not, then we're all just going to have to learn how to program to figure out how do we program the AI and the bots. And that's why, honestly, I started teaching myself how to program purposely, just for a decade from now. We never know where that will be. So,
So Brandon, are you learning Python?
No. So the most used programming language right now across the entire web is JavaScript. So our whole platform is built full stack JavaScript, back end and front end, because it's the most widely used and the most long-term strategy, and that's why we picked that stack. So I'm starting to learn full stack JavaScript from like the hours of 9 to 11 at night. It's kind of terrible at the beginning. It's miserable, but I could talk with my developers and programmers more intelligently now, which is a bonus.
Cool. So let me ask you this: how do you think Elon Musk would use something like this for their salespeople who are probably trying to reach out and maybe sell cars to executives, because we know the price point's actually kind of high on a Tesla, or even on a solar roof, because he's got solar panels now for solar shingles. How would he use AI in that sense to?
Totally. So just being how focused Musk is, and by the way, we have professionals from Tesla on the Seamless platform, which I was like really ecstatic about. I'm like, how is this, like, what are these, how are they using, like I called them a few times, I haven't gotten them on the phone, like, how are you using Seamless at Tesla? But I would say the first thing that he's going to do, just being an automation obsessed entrepreneur, like he doesn't want anyone researching, right? So he's going to automate the account list building. Everyone that Tesla or that Solar City should be selling to, automate all the accounts that they should be selling to, automate all the contacts they should be selling to. Then he would want to automate all the insights. Like, how do I salespeople not have to do manual research? I need to automate all that research automatically. And one way to do it with social selling, which is like how we do it at Seamless, is Martin. So if you were to read my social media posts, or Greg, you would know that I love the Ohio State Buckeyes because I'm from Ohio. You would know that I love working 24/7 because I'm just crazy. You would know that I have a boat. So we have a boat and we do a lot of like wakeboarding and water skiing, like with the Seamless team. And like you would know that by reading my social posts. So Elon and like where we're thinking is like, how do we automate the research of reading everything that you're posting about socially? And then you could leverage AI and machine learning to figure out, okay, Brandon talks a lot about the Ohio State Buckeyes. So the keyword density is really high for Ohio State Buckeyes, for running, for wakeboarding. Then you would figure out, okay, is he talking about those things positively or negatively? Like, is Brandon talking about these things in social with positive sentiment or negative sentiment? And you want to talk to Brandon with all the things that he's talking a lot about positively. So if Martin wanted to prospect me, he'd be like, hey, Brandon, it's Martin at the Linked Social Selling Podcast. By the way, I saw that the Ohio State Buckeyes are ranked #1. Can't wait for this season. By the way, I know that Seamless just opened up a new office in Charlotte. So like he would leverage AI to research things about me personally, things about the company personally, what's going on in the news, what's going on with the company, who are we hiring, what are we doing? And then that way he could automate all their outreach. And when it comes to, after the appointment, I don't know how you're going to automate the, like giving the pitch. That's really interesting. That's where Elise, I don't think right now that can be done. You could automate the content. So if Martin and I were on a pitch, Seamless knows how to hear Martin say, I'm not interested. And then boom, we launched a technology called SalesObjections.com, which is an AI engine to transcribe conversations and then tell you the content of what to say. So if we were on a pitch and Martin's like, I'm not interested. Hey, Martin, completely understand. If you were interested, you would have called me. Or, hey, Martin, hey, I completely get that. Thousands of prospects said the same thing to me, and now they're, increasing revenue by 300%, whatever it may be. So I don't know how Elon would automate the pitching part of that. I think we could leverage machine learning and AI to help guide us with scripts on what to say, how to say, to overcome different parts of the sales cycle. So you could fill the funnel with all the data, what to say, how to say it, book the appointment, empower the rep to crush that appointment with the prospect, and then crush sales objections to get that deal closed. And I got into a debate with someone via LinkedIn about this. Oh, I never used a sales script before. Oh, your AI sales script bot, I would never use it. And I'm like, you're using scripts every day. Mm-hmm. You run into, I'm not interested, no budget, I'm already working with someone, it's too expensive. I need to talk to my boss, need to talk to my wife, need to talk to my husband. Not a good time. Call me back later. Send me more info. The whole nine. And you could really leverage smart-driven content powered by machine learning and artificial intelligence to know what to say and how to say it.
Preach.
Brandon, that's really important you said, because he is using scripts. There's scripts in his head that he's learned from experience is the piece you're bringing up. If he found a way to solve a problem before, he's not going to say in his head, I will not use that because I used it before. So I think that's quite insightful as well. I want to ask one question here, and that is, how do you know you're working with something that's good quality AI driven or not? Because I've worked with Emery, and we've looked at some projects. He does some consulting on identifying the quality of AI, and some of the stuff we've seen, it looks like this is just a search. I mean, I was looking at how Watson's supposed to use bots with somebody, and It was like, my gosh, isn't that done better by just Googling it? Is there any AI present at all? Is there any machine learning presence? I think that's important for a salesperson, especially independent, picking a tool. How do they identify? Because there's a lot of snake oil, I think, coming up. And I told you, Watson, to me, might be one of those, in the sense that they've made it so convoluted to use it. It's not necessarily, maybe they've thought through usability, or is it even using machine learning?
Yeah, great question. So building a search engine is really difficult, right? And there's so much machine learning, because we built a search engine. It took us 2.5 years to build a people and companies search engine. So I know how difficult that is. And there's a lot of machine learning and AI that goes into figuring out the right algorithms to deliver the best results based on search intent. Because if you put, Martin in a search, that could come up with a book, that could come up with people, that could come up with places, that could come up with awards. There's so much intent-driven analysis around that. And I do believe Watson and IBM is at the forefront of a lot of that work. And it's just, at this point, it's very basic and intermediate, right? Where you're like, wow, you may think finding a perfect email and phone number for any professional in the world, oh yeah, that's really easy. Well, okay, there's thousands of different email patterns. There's personal emails, there's business emails. There's thousands of different ways that you could write your signature to figure out is it an office direct line? Is it a main line? Is it a personal line? Is it a mobile line? Is this their second cell phone, their first cell phone? So even the basic of things that seem very oh, that should be easy, you have to leverage neurolinguistic programming. You have to leverage deep learning to analyze these data points thousands of times, and then train these supercomputers like what IBM is using to read and parse it. So I think, we're at the early stages of it all, and it's growing, and we're going to get more and more advanced, just kind of like autonomous driving, where you see okay, we'll help you go 80% of the way, and then 90% of the way, 100% of the way. But everyone is kind of throwing out AI and machine learning into every, just like a marketing automation, when marketing automation was big 5-10 years ago. We're doing marketing automation. Now it's social automation, sales automation, and today it's AI this, AI that. So you just got to be careful, and I would look at reviews, and I'd also use the product. And by using the product, you'll know, is this really using machine learning and artificial intelligence to help me do my job faster and better? And at the end of the day, we just have to help you do your job smarter, better, bigger, faster.
Yeah, and we'll probably see coffee with AI added.
Yeah. This
just everybody's trying to.
I'm a supercomputer now. It's just helps me run many miles.
I think, Brandon, when we spoke with you, however many months back it was, I don't know, 5, 6, whatever it was, you guys had been working on a system where it was like a prospecting call type of thing, where I guess it was AI or a bot where they would call and they would actually engage with the prospect and have remember that? Am I losing my mind?
Yeah.
Did you guys build that? So I want an update on that.
Yeah, so we were building a technology to read scripts. So there's a lot of call center companies that are ahead of the game of us, with being able to sound like a human, talk, analyze the data, and then respond. I love building that technology. It's really fun and cool, because I think there's a lot of applications there, especially for people that are deaf or people that can't communicate well. I think there's a ton of application to empowering communication, leveraging this technology. But what it came down to was we're helping so many companies with our data intelligence and leveraging machine learning and AI to find the right intelligence on people and companies to empower you to connect with them, that we're a small startup. So if we try to build the world's best intelligence on people and companies, plus do a call automation technology, plus an email automation technology, we're just spread too thin. So we shut down that alpha product to focus exclusively on building Seamless, our really sales automation platform that helps you, find perfect emails, phone numbers, and insights for anyone. But it was a lot of fun. it's really hard. It's really hard to do.
You had to kill her. I mean, smart. Focus is everything, right? But she was cool. That makes me sad.
Well, Brandon, I mentioned that because I'm getting more robocalls where I can tell that
I hate those robocalls.
It's a bot, where they'll call by accident. I have several numbers that come in, so they'll call on different ones. I'll give different responses, and they'll respond in a different way. So, to me, that's the dark side of all this,
Yeah, the problem with that stuff is it kills, like, it's going to kill the phone if you think about it. Like, it could kill the prospecting phone if these robocalls keep calling our prospects. Like, for example, just the past 2 years, I started using the block on my iPhone, which I never used before. Because I'm getting 1,000 calls a day, and if it's a robocall, I block it on my phone. And, I'm worried about the robocalls, and I'm also worried about the, the technologies that do the auto dialing. Mm-hmm. Like, they'll call 10,000 people for you. They'll pick up and then they'll connect you. Like, they'll have like agents that will do all the dialing for you. I'm worried that those types of technologies could eventually kill the phone for salespeople. And that's my biggest concern, because the conversion rates over the phone are already low. I mean, emailing, calling, the conversion rates are about the same, right? Like 2%, 1%, 3% they'll pick up. It's just emailing, you don't have to do as much work. Calling, you don't want to sit there, make 100 calls, only connect with 3 people. And I'm worried all these automated mass dialers, are like, I know them all. Connect and Sell, Connect Leader, Monster Connect. These are all great technologies, but if everyone starts to use them, all the prospects are going to get called on 50,000 times. And if someone connects through and they pick up, the other people that are on the phone with them, they just turn them off and whatnot. So really concerned about that, and hopefully it doesn't come to that fruition.
Well, I just want to add one more thing. I already, since I'm the primary business, very seldom am picking up the phone unless I think it has a high probability of being in my area. And then when I do, if I've got a strategy, you'll know. So I go, hello, I give 2 hellos and then hang up. And then if it was a client, I can apologize.
It's just going to beep, and then you're going to sit there, and it's some cold call.
Yeah, and so I think this is important, that this is not what you're doing. This is not what you're supporting. And this is, to me, if Elon Musk is worried about something, I'm more worried about this than the Terminator showing at my door tomorrow. And the misuse of just mass interruptions of people's attention without any earned permission.
Yeah, and I think there what we could do is we could, instead of using live agents, I think we can use smart-driven technology that can work through the operators and the systems and then connect you live instantly. Elon Musk would say, like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's have agents dial, and then when someone picks up, connect. But he would be like, that's not good enough, because if we call Martin's going to wait 3 seconds, and then he's going to hang up. How do we leverage technology to automatically connect you to Martin right when he picks up versus like human intervention? I think that would be the way that I would want to build that, which I'm sure all these companies who I really like are building and working towards.
Now, it would be, I guess you could assume that maybe you have a little bit of information before that call is actually made. At least you'd hope that, using some AI about, who are we calling, and then match up the call with the right rep as well, based on different characteristics we've taken from our rep, right? So it kind of goes into like how Crystal Knows works, where it might be a little bit of reverse, but how can you match up the personalities better? So that way, here's the person who's most likely to be able to close this particular sale.
Yeah, and to that point, what's great is, like, what we really focus on is, we're sick. We want to fix like bad salespeople and bad marketers by researching all that data on Greg, on Elise, on Martin before you make that call, before you send out that email. Like, because we know if we can automate all that hard work and get you all the research, like Martin's interests, hobbies, common connections. We can even figure out political beliefs. we're using machine learning and artificial intelligence to figure out, like, are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? Do you want the school to be approved in your county or not? Like, all this stuff is publicly available, and we're aggregating it all and analyzing it and figuring out not how to use it for bad, but how can we empower salespeople and marketers to know these things about everyone that they're calling and emailing and social selling to be smarter about how to engage, how to create commonality, and how to do that outreach. So say, for instance, I found Martin on LinkedIn, and I was, we used a AI and machine learning to automatically figure out your hobbies and our common connections. I'd be like, hey, Martin, I know that you like boating. You're in Raleigh. Have you gotten out this summer? By the way, I read your I read you launched this new social selling class. How much is it? That's really exciting. I want to share it with my network. Machine learning and AI could tell me, like, everything that you're talking about, everything that you're interested in, everything about your company. And that way, in 1 second, the person could see you on social media, know everything in one click about you, and then how to engage and how to connect. And that's really a smart way to leverage intelligence, artificial intelligence, to create better relationships with people. Because how many times do you accept a LinkedIn invite and then you get a bullshit cold pitch right away?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I get 10 of those a day. 10 of those a day. Accept bullshit pitch. Accept bullshit pitch. And I'm just like, what is this? Like,
that's
5 years ago, there were more personal LinkedIn invitations than there are now, and we have more technology now than we did 5 years ago.
Yeah, so that's not social selling. Just kind of remind folks about that who are listening to the show. We know our listeners, they don't do that.
That's social bludgeoning, in my view. I want to bring that up because I had a great experience with an honest question at one of my talks where someone came up and they said, I'm connecting to these CEOs and they're responding to me, and then I'm offering that I'd like to sit down and talk to them, and they're not responding after that. And the poor guy, I kind of bit his head off in the response because I said that's called social seducing, not social courting. And it just came out of me. I couldn't help myself. I go, you're doing practices that maybe 15 years ago were okay when we had more time, maybe 20. You better slow back this down and ask, how do I give 5 pieces of value to this person so great they'll want to know who this guy is before I ever take any of their time to meet with them? And
I
if
love
your
that.
product doesn't have enough profit margin in to do it, you're selling a commodity and need to get out of that field. And it was really interesting because, and then I apologize, it was just an honest question. I just kind of snapped on him because it's like, this is what we want to get. Their time, if you aren't respecting their time, that an interruption takes time to respond, you don't understand your customer, or you're a commodity. You're just a commodity bludgeoning away like an old caveman. I want to ask one more question here. Brandon, what do you recommend for salespeople who haven't started using some of these tools that are so powerful in getting content, where they should be focusing first? Obviously, your free offer is one of them, but where should they be focusing? Where should they be committing their learning so they aren't falling behind? Because I see salespeople who are in B2B sales that still, their LinkedIn profile looks like a lame data sheet. And they're still using what I call bludgeoning marketing to wear down people. And I just want to say, where should they start? Where should they begin?
Yeah, I think there's three areas to begin. And this is just for any salesperson that we talk to. One, you got to automate your account list building and your contact list building. It's like your ideal customer persona. Who are all the accounts that you need to sell to? Who are all the contacts at those accounts you need to sell to? And you need to automate building that list. With a Seamless or a D&B or LinkedIn or whatever that may be, you need to automate building the account list, building the contact list. Because once you have your ideal customer personas, then you can figure out, how am I going to personalize my messaging to them? Then the third thing is the data on the accounts that you can leverage to connect with them. So what is the data at an account-based sales approach? What is the data that I can talk about the company? And I recommend 3 to 5 different factual points. Like you had mentioned, you want to bring like 5 things to the table. Like, I want to know what they sell. if I'm reaching out to them and I don't know what they sell, that's pathetic of me. Like, that takes 2 seconds to learn, and you can leverage technology to figure that out really quickly. What do they sell? What are their clients? Who are they selling to? What do they sell? Who are they selling to? What are they trying to accomplish? And you can figure out like what their major goals and objectives are just based on the product and the clients, and then offering solutions on how to help them accomplish that. So I think it's the account list building, the contact list building, and the personalized data points. Because if we pull 5 data points about the company, we could customize 5 different messages in social selling, or 5 different messages in email or calls that will be all highly personalized because we did all the research in advance. And that would be like my biggest recommendation. Do all the research in advance before doing any outreach.
It's helpful. It's helpful to get that research done. And I was looking through the website here, and it looks like that you actually make a point that about 67% of a salesperson's time is spent on doing research or administrative tasks. So I would assume that using something like Seamless would probably reduce.
While you're talking, I'm going to plug in my computer. It's about to die. Keep going.
So I think that's important to kind of mention, is that how AI is supposed to really help, not just gather that information, but speed up the process of gathering it, so that way you can make a better strategy going forward with your salesperson, spend more time selling. Building that relationship.
Yeah, I mean, even just looking, like, I'm signing up right now.
That's all right. Very good.
Shameless plug, but but getting all of that research off of your plate, I'm just curious to see how it works.
Yeah.
So thinking about like my clients and then what I do as well.
It's just to kind of add on to what Elise, what you're saying there, is that signing up doesn't look like it's all that difficult. We've heard listeners, you've heard from us a number of times that using Google Chrome is the best thing you can do in social selling, because there's so many different extensions that are available. And this is basically what it is. It's a Chrome extension that provides access to that additional information. So at least as you said you were signing up, how easy was it to sign up?
I'm doing it right now. It's pretty simple. You put in your information. Right now it's telling me to connect my business email as I do it. But I think it's going to be pretty simple.
Elisa,
you like it?
Yeah, it's great, because I've got it, and then I've got Nimble to bring them into it, and then I also use Crystal knows to get more detail studying them, and all this, it lets me pre-screen them, understand what's going on. And then again, I think it's so important that we use it in appropriate ways with the right timing, because if it's just a trick of throwing 3 things we know at them, I think what's going to occur is they're going to catch on to that and spell it quickly, well. It's got to be, what's the win-win in this for us? What's the added value? How am I earning the right to be in their trust? And I think that's, to me, still a fundamental. It's kind of like the person with the patience and persistence, and is going to outweigh the person who's just trying to throw a trick at them quickly. Because they'll catch it, and we've got so much data coming at us. We have to have screening methods to slow it down.
Yeah.
I think that's the fine line here, is all of this is built to be able to make it a more personalized experience. If at the end of the day, though, you're still being disingenuous and you're just using something like this to try to, get the sale faster, and you still don't really care. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're if you're like spamming them on LinkedIn, or if you're coming to them with 3 to 5 pieces of data. So I think at the end of the day, it all boils down to the integrity and the ethics of the salesperson. And if you put this tool in the hands of somebody with great integrity, then there's going to be good results. If you put it in the hands of somebody who was just spamming before, they're going to continue to do that. And there's going to be no difference. Maybe they'll get a little bit better results for a little bit, but it won't last. So at the end of the day, it all boils down to the person, I think, and just giving them a tool to help empower them.
Yeah, and we live in such a transparent world. The word gets out. I mean, if you're just, there's people known to be just spammers in my community, and we all go, oh, yep, it's Bob spamming again. I got one on LinkedIn with 5 paragraphs who has forgotten that they've known me 20 years or something, and And so I think, they don't realize the losses that are occurring by not understanding how the world's changing. That's it. Brandon's technology allowed him to step out for a moment. So in honor of both him and our time, I think we ought to wrap it up. And if he rejoins us, we'll reconnect as well. The takeaway is understanding a little bit more about how these very amazing tools exist. Get on the court to start using them. Like Seamless.ai gives a very nice, robust, free intro so you can experience it. I started to use Crystal on a free intro to get going, and then pay for it. And then Nimble, I think they have a 15-day and so forth to let them do it. But get on the court, but also team up with some people that can share ideas and talk about it. Because at least for me, some of this is changed so fast. I sometimes need another sounding board to go, do I understand this correct? Usually I'm asking Greg, of course, as well. It is a lot of data coming at us, but my gosh, if you can get the data that you might learn walking into their office and looking around at the walls and use it in an appropriate way with a win-win attitude, you will have a fierce competitive advantage. Greg, I'll let you wrap it up. And at least if you have a quote for motivation.
Do you want my quote, or does Greg
want to? Yes, we do.
Okay. Totally off the cuff here. Okay. So I am going to talk about closing, because yesterday I gave a talk on closing to a group of business owners over at City Club. And I think everybody has different feelings on closing. Some people are like, I am a closer. I'm amazing at it. Gets like 2 people in front of me and I'm going to always close one of them. And then there's a lot of sales professionals who are really terrified of closing. So what I want everyone who's listening today to start thinking about is that closing is not at all about you. It's actually all about your prospect. And we define it as simply getting somebody from point A, which is where they are right now, to point B, which is where they want to be, faster. And along the way, it's a matter of asking good questions and having empathy and finding out what they truly need, and then help just steer them to that decision. So I don't know if that was a quote or a monologue, but
that was all right.
That's what I got for you today.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so I will leave you with a social selling tip real quick, and that is going to be around using LinkedIn video. I think that using video is an excellent opportunity to take and connect with your network and show them who you are. There's some, I think that CEOs and other sales leaders and things like that should be seriously considering using LinkedIn to help motivate their network and to take action and, actually help them kind of build their brand. It doesn't take much to do video. Everyone has a smartphone that, hopefully they have one of the most recent iPhones or a newer Android phone that has a great front-facing camera, and start using it. Just make sure you have good light. Make sure you hold it at the right angle too, and start recording and share. Another thing too is that you don't have to use your phone. You can always take and record from your laptop and take and upload it directly into LinkedIn. So, or if it's in your camera roll on your phone, take those videos and share them out there. Of course, like Facebook, LinkedIn is going to be taking and using their algorithm to take and push those videos up to the top. So that's what's going to happen with it. If you see somebody else who shared a video, watch it, engage with it. It's a great opportunity to help improve your SSI on LinkedIn, and definitely get the most out of using the platform. So that's my tip.
One last sentence from Brandon and wrap it up.
Yeah. So,
hey guys.
Yeah, no worries, Brandon. That's just totally fine. I just saw you kind of fell offline there. So we're wrapping up here, but I want to let's go ahead and give you just a couple minutes to tell us how we can learn a little bit more about you, and any tip that you may have for those out there with social selling, or just want to get started using AI for sales.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd love to connect with different professionals on LinkedIn. Of course, feel free to add me on LinkedIn, Brandon Bornancin. Just search for me. You can find us easily if you just search for Seamless.ai. Also, we'd love to give everyone that listens to the podcast free $500 to be applied to any of the licenses. So if you just go to Seamless.ai, and what should the referral code be, guys, when they register? What should the referral code be for the podcast?
do podcast or social selling podcast or something like that.
We'll make it a social selling podcast. Just all written out.
Social selling podcast. Yeah. One word.
Written together.
Free $500 worth of credits that you could use for Seamless. Just go to Seamless.ai, add to Chrome in the referral code Social Selling Podcast, and that way we could help you hit the ground running on finding all the accounts, contacts with perfect emails, phone numbers, and insights that you need to maximize selling. And to get started with social selling, pick up the course, right? The great course that you guys launched. You got 6 hours of content. Yeah. That's a lot of content. Yeah. Get it, listen to it at the gym, while you're driving, on the computer, you name it. Like, that's where I do most of my training. I'm at the gym. I'm on a stupid cardio machine. Just put it on, listen, skill up in the car, you name it. Also, there's tons of books out there, blogs. Social Selling Mastery by Jamie Shanks is also another book. Like, there's so much content out there. I would start reading and then just start getting involved. Deliver value, though. Like, out of anything you do, before you think about doing anything on social, be obsessed with delivering value to your core audience and to your core prospects. And I think that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Great to meet you, and thanks for having us today, Martin, Greg, and Elise.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. And of course, for folks that want to learn a little bit more, who can't spell Brandon's last name like myself, there'll be show notes for you. So definitely come out. You're going to look for episode 116 over at linkingintosales.com. Look for episode 116. Again, don't forget, everyone, you could take and check out the course over at socialselling.training. It's the fundamentals of social selling. Don't forget, you can reach out to me if you want a promo code that's not going to expire on you. If you want to reach out to Martin, you can get an expired one from there. And definitely do that and reach out to us. And any final thoughts, guys?
That's it. That was great. Loved it. Love to hear feedback. Take care. Have a great day.
Very good.